Signs everywhere, signs for your business and signs for your ride. SignBros is the place where we make your signs.
Hello.
Welcome to the SignBroCast. We are the SignBros, and we have a special guest today, Mrs. Ivey Ruiz from the Borderland Roller Derby.
All right.
Thank you for coming by.
Thank you for having me.
Good morning to you.
Thank you. Good morning. Is it morning? Okay.
I know.
Yeah, it's very morning.
Tell us about what the roller derby is all about. There's a lot of people that are still unfamiliar with this sport.
Well, roller derby is now becoming very mainstream. It used to be very underground. Not a lot of people knew about it. I think more and more as it progresses, people are becoming more aware of it. Here in El Paso, we're the only bank track league. So our league is Borderland Roller Derby. It is bank track. We play hard and we have fun and we give out to the community. That's pretty much what we do.
Now you said bank track?
Bank track.
Okay, explain that to us.
Pretty much, just think of this track. It's oval, it's slanted, and we skate on it.
Okay, so it's reference to the track then.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Because I've been to some that it's flat. What's the difference
Yeah.
between the flat track and the bank
Well,
track?
well, your flat track, because I used to skate flat track.
Okay.
Flat track is pretty much you're obviously on flat,
Yes.
and you're using different muscles. You're pretty much pushing yourself to skate. You're pushing yourself to do all these skills and talents. You know,
You're
playing the
fighting
game.
gravity and
You're
stuff.
pretty much fighting
Wow.
gravity. On the bank track, you are kind of slanted. You are skating on what I said. It's a track, so you're skating very slanted. You're having to do all those skills, use muscles probably that you never used before.
Yeah.
And you're doing all your skills and talents on that.
Yeah. You prefer skating flat or on the bank?
Truthfully, you know, I used to say that I was better off as a flat track skater because I had done it for years. I did struggle a bit learning how to get on the bank once we did get our bank track, but you know, after years of practice, I kind of got the hang of it and I got pretty good at it.
Got pretty
So,
Good. How long has Borderland Roller Derby been in El Paso?
well, Borderland Roller Derby has been in El Paso for almost 10, going on maybe 10 and a half years.
Oh, wow.
But we used to be known as Sun City Roller Girls. Now we are Borderland Roller Derby.
Same organization.
Same organization, just a different name.
Change the name. Gotcha.
I've been to a lot of those bouts, and it gets pretty tough out there.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
a lot of bruising and injuries going on. It's pretty
Which,
fun, yeah.
my experience with that has been watching on TV a long time ago, you know, and all that brutality and stuff. Too.
Yeah.
But now there's the question. Now I hope you don't get offended, but you know, the idea of is it fake or is it real? Now I know for a fact that the hits are real, but I mean,
You know, I get that a lot. I get that, you know, they always compare roller derby to pretty much
Wrestling.
to wrestling. But you know what? Wrestling in itself, it takes a lot of training and effort, and people do get hurt. It's the same thing with roller derby. You know, we train, we get ready for these games, and when we play, we do get hurt sometimes.
but the hits are real.
The hits are real.
And obviously the falling
And
all that
you
stuff,
know,
yeah.
it's not as bad on the bank track though. I do compare it a lot to wrestling in that sense. Like when you hit the wrestling ring, you fall. It has like that pound sound, and you think like, oh, that hurts. But honestly, it does not. It just pretty much just bounces you back up. So I rather fall on that bank track to fall on flat.
Now, are there? Do you guys use the traditional four-wheel skates, or you
Yeah,
guys
the
can roll
quads.
these?
We
Is that
use
the
the
rules? You
quads.
have to use those. Is that?
Yes, you have to use the quad skates. It's
Okay.
it is under our requirements under our league.
Okay. Are there any leagues that do use the straight, or what do we call them?
Not that I'm aware of, but most
Okay.
leagues do require just quads.
Well, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
What's the difference between the two?
The A-line and the quad skates, well, your A-lines are obviously straight. However, if you're playing, especially when you're getting those hits and you're skating, I can only imagine what would happen to your ankle.
Yeah.
Your quads, they have a little bit more balance.
More centered.
So you're a little bit more centered.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what's again? Excuse the ignorance, the word ignorance, but I just don't know. Okay, educate
No,
me.
I'm educating you.
What's the rules? What's the idea of the game?
So pretty much how the game is played is you have your two teams. And let's just say it's orange team and green team. And I'm only thinking of that because that's our practice jerseys. But anyway, you have your two teams. You have 4 skaters on the track, and they're lined up what we call as the blocker line. So you have 4 and 4. One of those, within one of those 4, you have a pivot. Your pivot is identified by a stripe on their helmet.
Oh, okay.
They're the people that usually lead your pack. They either speed it up, slow it down, direct your skaters as to what they need to be, what position they need to be on the track.
Okay.
On top of that, you also have another line, which is known as your jammer line, and there's only one that fills that spot per team. So your jammer is identified by the star on their helmet. That is the person that pretty much scores the points. The reason why you see all these hits and the reason why you see like these 2 people with the stars on their head racing is because they're trying to get points. So when the whistle blows, you get your first whistle. The pack takes off. That's what we call the blockers. The pack takes off. The second whistle blows, your jammers take off. Your jammers are pretty much fighting for who's going to get through the pack first. So your blockers are pretty much preventing.
So it's this jammer against that jammer, basically?
Yes.
Okay.
It's like 2 trying to compete to get through.
Gotcha.
And that's where you have your blockers. Your blockers are pretty much trying to hit them out, trying to make sure that they don't go through, but their jammer goes through. So once they pass, then they come back around and they start scoring points. The way you score points is for each blocker you pass, you get 1 point.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
1 point.
I didn't
1
know
point.
that. I knew
Yeah.
most of it, but I didn't know that part.
And I've seen, like I said, I've been to some bouts as well, and I've seen sometimes where they're just like so ahead, and they do something.
They
I
do
know
something
they
like
do
that.
something, and then they like call it off.
Yeah. Okay.
Something
So
like that,
what we call each little game within it, it's called a jam.
Okay.
So within each jam, it's about a minute long. So let's say within the 2 jammers, whoever gets through the pack first legally,
Okay.
then they're known as the lead jammer. Now
Okay.
that lead jammer status, they're the only person that can call it off. So they pretty much are designating through their
Yeah, I
hips
don't know
to
if they're
call
like
off.
bragging or like, what's up? Or
You
is
know,
it like that?
sometimes we do, and then sometimes it's like, no, we're really
No,
trying
no,
to
this
call
is
it
real.
off.
Wait, so-
Well, what, how do they call it off?
Yeah.
Like, what gives them the right to call it off?
Well, you have several reasons why you would call it off. You can call it off because, let's just be honest, sometimes you're tired and you're like, no, can't do it. I gotta call it off.
Okay.
I never advise that to skaters though. I'm like, you only have to do it for 1 minute. Like,
Yeah.
just go.
Come on, suck
just
it up.
get some points. But you also can call it off because, again, since you have a person that has lead jammer, it can actually be stolen by the other jammer. So if you have the other jammer coming up and that jammer that has the lead sees it, they can just right away call it off
After a minute?
after a minute.
Oh,
You could
after a
either
minute,
go
okay.
you could either go within the minute, or whenever the jammer wants to call it off, they can call it off within that
So
minute.
they
And are
can
you-
keep going if they want?
They can keep going as long as it's within the minute.
How many call-offs are you allowed, or?
As
Really?
many as you
Unlimited?
want, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Well, per jam, but
Per
pretty
jam.
much you can call it off. There's no limit to it.
Interesting. Wow.
And I've also seen like some pillow fights during, right?
Yes, we
Ah, there you go.
You know, and I get that a lot from fans too. Like, I think the pillow fight is like the most popular thing we do. We do have what is known as a penalty wheel. So when you have any skater that pretty much commits a penalty, sometimes just to kind of, get our crowd going, we'll be like, okay, we got 2 people with penalties. These people are going to do the penalty wheel. Now, the penalty wheel can vary from our famous pillow fight to races to pretty much, we have a tug of war. And this is all done on skates, so.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I think our pillow fight is probably the most popular
I would think so.
and brutal.
But that's just more like a fun thing, right? That's
It's
not,
a fun
There's
thing,
no points involved or nothing like that.
but there is.
Oh, really?
If you lose, you do get your point taken, or you get your point.
Same thing with
given.
tug of war.
Yeah.
Oh.
All your penalties, it does involve with the game.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So this is like, I'm sure this played nationwide, of course, this sport, right?
This sport,
worldwide,
yeah,
I would
this
say.
sport is played nationwide. I do tell people that there's different kinds of rule sets.
I was gonna say, because
Yeah.
it's not like one set of rules for everybody. You guys all
No.
set your.
There's different kinds of rule set. You have what is known as the Texas rule set. So your Texas rule set is pretty much renegade. It is like old school,
Brutal.
brutal, brought into modern day.
Oh,
That is actually what Borderland Roller Derby does play. They play Texas rules. I do have a travel team. So my travel team is the only team that plays a universal rule. So on bank track, what is known as RDCL. So pretty much any league that has a bank track, they play RDCL. So my travel team is the only team that plays RDCL. And then your flats, you have WIFTA, and then men's teams, you have what I think it's known as MRDA rule set, and then you have USARs. There's just a ton of rule set. You just have to kind of correlate, okay, what rule set are we playing? All right, cool. And then you're fine.
And everybody should already kind of pretty much know.
You have some leagues that do, you have some leagues that don't. I mean, it's pretty much all the same in some sense. It's just the differences
Little
are probably
details.
little details,
Yeah.
penalties, and so forth.
Yeah.
Is there a men's league here?
There used to be a men's league. I don't know what happened to them though.
I think Nate's interested in.
I'm interested in putting on some skates and some little shorts.
Hey,
I
well,
think
you
it's
can
more-
start your own
I think
league.
he's looking forward to the pillow fight.
Yeah,
I would think that it would be more popular watching the women do it.
You know
And
what?
only because I think women are more vicious when it gets to
So you
that.
don't want to
Yes.
see, you don't want to see two guys pillow fighting?
I'm not gonna lie.
It was a tiny
men-
short that scared me out.
Yeah, like women are a lot more brutal than men.
Yeah.
I've played with men before. I've coached men before. And what I've noticed a difference between women and men, I think men kind of hold off sometimes. I mean, this is just my opinion.
Sure.
But I think they hold off a little bit, just knowing because of their strength and so forth. But when I play with women, it's like
I wouldn't know. Yeah.
free for
holds
all.
barred.
There is no hold on anything. Like women are very brutal. Sometimes they're like, "Ooh, I'm sorry."
What's the rules? I did notice that when they kind of skate by each other, they can only hit like a certain way.
Yeah.
Because I know there's no like elbows flinging, right?
No.
You can't fling your elbows, so they kind of like, do they bump?
That's pretty much what it is. So what we have is known as the target zones, the legal zones, and the illegal zones. So your legal zones are known as anything from the bra strap out and anything from your hip out. Anything.
What if it's a strapless bra?
Well, then that's just
Or you wanna
another.
cheat? You want to cheat and move it around?
Yeah.
But yeah, so anything out from the bra strap out to the hip out, that is called your legal zone. Your chest is also legal. Your illegal zones are obviously anything above the head, your neck, your back, your bottom, anything below the knees. Those are all illegal.
Gotcha.
So when you hit, you have to hit certain ways to make sure that you're hitting the target zones and not so much the illegal zones.
So that's when they hit illegally. That's when they get a penalty.
Yes.
And then that's what causes the pillow fights.
So that means pillow fights.
I think you're really interested in the pillow fight
So,
rather
I
than the game.
guess so.
That doesn't sound like much of a punishment, huh? Pillow fight. But,
Like, okay.
But so that means you have officials, or what do you call them, referees, or something?
We
or-
call them our zebra team, our zebra squad, our
How many?
officials.
How many are on one bout?
Typically within our league, generally we have roughly around 12 to 13 officials, and
Like in one game though.
in one game we have 12 to 13
Oh,
officials.
really? Always
yeah.
watching
Wow,
everything?
really?
They're watching. If we're ever down, I think the least we've ever been down is maybe 7.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's the NFL
In
should
one
do that.
in one bout, there's
They
that
do.
many. No, I thought there was like 2.
Well, it's because they're designated in certain areas. So you have officials that are outside the
okay.
track. You have officials that are inside the track. You also have officials that are actually coordinating
The
with the
stands.
points on the stands and so forth.
Oh wow, jeez. It's a
Zebra
big
team.
Yeah.
Team. Is it hard to get officials?
You know what? Sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't. I think when we get officials, it's usually because, I've had people that are like just related to a skater that are like, you know what, I'm interested in doing it, and, want to spend time with Conchita. I don't know. But, it's usually family or friends. I do have people that, have just come to games and they're just like, you know what, that's such a cool sport. I'm not really interested in the skating aspect of it, but I'm actually interested in officiating. So I've had some people that way, but it is a little harder sometimes to recruit officials than it is, and this goes for any league. It's harder to recruit than it is skaters.
Plus, yeah, they have to know all the rules and do some kind of
Yeah.
training or something.
They do
or-
go through training. They do go through pretty much go through the rule set with their head referee. They have to attend practices with the skaters. They have to get to know our skaters as well, because you need to know, okay, this skater, I don't know, gave an elbow. Okay, what does an elbow look like? What do I call it? How do I call it and communicate it with the main official inside the track? So, I mean, there's a lot that goes into officiating.
And right now that you were talking about the skaters, they all kind of have their own little like personas.
Yeah.
And stuff,
Yeah.
right? And that's kind of part of the wrestling.
That's
part
probably
of the aspect.
one of the
as well.
big aspects. That's what I number
Yeah.
2 is everybody had their own
personality.
personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have their own little fans. And
You know,
stuff like
it's
that.
funny because, you know, I never realized it maybe until a couple of years ago that there's girls that have a fan base.
Oh yeah.
And then there's girls that are like, no, I don't want to be known. Like, just hide me.
Yeah.
I was like that for a little bit, and then I became all like crazy.
Well, I bet you that brings out that those who feel kind of shy. I bet you the sport
Yeah.
kind of makes them.
Well, when I started roller derby, which was 10 years ago, I was really, really shy. I was super shy, and I hated talking to people. I hated talking, like, even in this setting, I would have died.
Wow.
I was really scared, and you know, roller derby actually really helped me come out of that shell, and
nice.
I was able to communicate, and I was able to be like, you know what, I don't like that. Let me put my 2 cents in.
Now you're the manager.
Yeah, and how I manage.
What is your title?
So I'm general manager of Borderland.
Okay.
Pretty much my job is everything but pay the girls' bills. Like I do training. I pretty much take care of all aspects of skater relations. Sometimes I dabble into my officials, but I do have a head referee for that.
Oh, and the players don't get paid, right? Or do they?
No, players do not get paid. I think of it somewhat like a gym membership. You pay, you go and you skate. But all the monies does go to the league because it is what pays our rent. It's what pays
Sure.
the production of
And
everything.
you guys meet where? Do you guys have a set place? You guys always do your bouts at?
Yes, we do it at the Paso County Coliseum. It depends. Usually we do it inside the Coliseum. We did have our last game in the Coliseum. That was for the main Coliseum.
Oh, wow.
How was that?
That was actually really nice. We did it with Estela Casas, so we did Stand with Estela. So she was our featured charity for that game, and she came out and she did her thing. All the proceeds within our raffle went into her organization.
Good.
Wow.
But usually what we practice and usually hold our games is the judging arena. So you have the main Coliseum, and then you have this little tiny little thing that's where we hold our track.
That's the one I've been to. Yeah, that one's
Yeah.
cool.
Mine
It gets
as well.
packed and
Yeah.
hot.
It's a
and
good,
sweaty.
It's a good
and
time. It really
good
is a
time.
good place to go and take your family and go
Yeah.
and have a good time. And they have a concession. They have drinks. and-
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
I did have a question for you. He brought up the pay and stuff. How high up does this whole roller derby go? I know I've seen it on TV as well, a long time ago. But is there is it an Olympic event?
Well, when it comes down to bank track, the way that I perceive bank track and the experience I've had with it, I've noticed, so you have like pretty much just your league. Your league is comprised of home teams, and those home teams play against each other. Then if you want to broaden that up, you go into your traveling. So my travel team, they are the ones that go out and they travel. We've been to Houston. We've been to, I think Austin. I had girls that have gone to Austin. I know.
Statewide?
Usually statewide, but it could be.
It can be-
But is there like a
nationwide.
professional level
Yeah.
of this?
Professional level, I don't believe so, but I believe that at one point in time it will get there because
Yeah.
again, it's still somewhat underground. It is becoming a little bit more mainstream. Before, I couldn't even find like little knickknacks that had any roller skates on it or anything that's like roller derby, save my soul kind of thing. But now it's just, you know, I remember traveling out to like just to go shopping at a mall, let's just say at Vegas, and I've seen it like at Hot Topic, and you know there's like little knickknacks here and there, and I'm noticing more and more that it's becoming a little bit more common. Even in
Gotcha.
TV, like you're seeing like, you know, just maybe about 2-3 weeks ago I was watching, I think, CSI, and there was an episode on roller derby, and I was like, hey.
Hey.
I didn't recognize anybody, but I was like, hey.
Is there somebody that
Is
like
well
a
known.
personality that is well known for roller derby, or not really?
I mean, yes and no. A lot of these people that we meet, they do have kind of like I guess a
Persona or
persona or
something.
aspect that girls kind of like fangirl over.
Yeah.
There's if I could name some, maybe like Isabel Ringer from LA. She's very well known. She actually came out on a TV show, I think about a year ago. I just can't remember his name, but she came out on a TV show. You have her. You have, I think, crap.
But these would be people that probably only people that are very familiar with roller
Probably
derby would
within
recognize.
within the roller derby community, they're
yeah.
well known. Maybe not so much out.
Gotcha.
But maybe one day, yeah.
Wow. And when you guys set up your stuff, I mean, you guys have to bring your own equipment, set up the ring, obviously, and all that stuff.
That takes a long time setting
I
up the
would
ring.
think so.
Well, we never have to, for traveling, we never have to really move our track.
Okay.
The only time we do move our track is when we're moving it from the judging arena where we hold our practices to the Coliseum.
And you guys got to do all that yourself.
And
I'm
we
sure.
do it all ourselves. You have women, since in my league I have maybe about 60 women, so
Wow.
if I have a good day, I'll have maybe half of them. But we have spouses, we have friends that come and help us.
Gotcha.
But mostly it's my girls that are doing all the hard labor.
And what's the regulation size of the ring?
Ooh, I couldn't
track?
even tell you from the top of my head. I
From
just
this
know
side to this
it's
side, from this side to
big,
this side.
wide. That's all I can say. I can't
Wow.
remember, but it's
Wow.
pretty big.
What do you think is the way that you can get this thing bigger so you can fill up the county coliseum? Do you have like plans for that? Is that like, I mean, I would think that you would like for that to happen.
I mean, I would love for that to
Yeah.
happen. I would love for, Derby just in general just to be out there.
Yeah.
I mean, we do a lot of pretty much community work. So I think that's one thing, to reach out to your community, because it's very important. Being able to communicate with people like, hey, there's roller derby, but hey, we're also helping out
Sure.
the community. Come help us out. We'll help you out, kind of thing.
Wow.
I also do a lot of media stuff. I actually work for a local news station, so I'm able to do a lot
Got
of
like good
media
little
here and there.
connections.
Yeah.
Slip in a
Nice.
commercial here and there.
I wish, no. But I do try to do a lot of media work, so I've had made friends along the way in my career to be able to be like, hey, man, I know that you do YouTube videos. Can I be in your YouTube video? And just promote this game.
And I'm
I'll
sure,
buy you lunch.
I'm sure the 60 players themselves push it themselves
Yes.
on social media. And
They also have connections. It is just like a network of women. You have women that are like, hey, I have a friend that, owns a bakery, and they're willing to have us there to kind of promote us.
There you go.
You have women that are like, hey, I work at so-and-so, and they're willing to have you guys here if you guys can promote
There you
us.
go. So anybody listening wants to sponsor them? Basically, sponsors what you're looking
Yeah,
for, right?
pretty much sponsorship. Again, we do charity work. We
Podcasts.
welcome podcasts. We do charity work. We welcome sponsorship. It's very hard sometimes to find sponsorship again, because this is not a sport that people usually are like, do I really want to invest in that?
Yeah.
But you know what? They should, because you're helping out a ton of women that this sport has saved their lives in some sense.
Yeah.
I can tell you numerous stories I've heard from women, and that's because I hear women every day. But I can tell you numerous times that women have told me, I'm glad that this league is here, because this is something that saved me from either a divorce. This saved me from not trying to kill my children because they're driving me crazy.
Yeah.
My job.
stress relief.
Yeah, it's a little stress reliever. So I think this sport in itself has saved a lot of women, and these women just want to keep making this league
Yeah.
grow, and that's great.
And how close are you guys outside of the sport itself? You guys, the
Girls
girls.
hang out and stuff.
You know what? A lot of girls, before when I joined, I was, like I told you, I was very like, no, I don't want to talk to anybody. But I noticed within the years, I started branching out and getting to know people. Usually it's women just within their teams
Okay, gotcha.
that they get really close. I've seen teams that are super, super close. They go to each other's like daughters' quinceañeras, and
Sure.
they're like all in each other's business. But league itself, you do have a couple that just they're very close, especially when you train together.
Sure.
And you hit together,
each other.
and you do these
Sweat.
fundraisers. Yeah, you sweat.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Pillow fight.
and you guys are way too into this pillow fight.
Okay,
Just bring out the pillows already.
Tell us the names of the teams. How many teams are there in this league? What are the names of the teams?
So we have 5 home teams. We have the Chucotan Chulas. We have the Viudas Negras.
Executioners.
The Sexecutioners, that's my team. We have Las Viudas Negras, we have the Diablas, and we have Las Catrinas. Then you have your travel team, that's Las Chicanas.
Oh, wow.
Wow, that's the one I hadn't heard that one.
Yeah, well, it's not so much really here in El Paso because they're typically the ones that go out.
Got you.
And for fun, you gotta tell some of the names of the characters. 'Cause I know it was our niece, Isaac's
Nieces.
Shout out to
Yeah.
Bella Beast and Queen Amidala.
Queen Amidala. Yes, our nieces. Okay, but some other names just out of curiosity, because it's interesting the way they come up with these creative names.
So you have people like China Tu Madre. You have, yeah. And that's actually our CEO of our league.
And what's yours?
Mine's Miss Pretty Poison.
It's Pretty Poison. Okay,
Yes.
gotcha.
You also got Sassy Opath. You have Bambi Slamby. You have Skatey Perry.
Katy Perry, nice.
Trixie Pulverizer.
Whoa.
Who else do you got? You have
I'm gonna say the Pulverizer's not a small girl.
no, but she's a pretty
Rough,
built girl.
strong, yeah.
I love her, but she's a very strong woman, very tough woman in that league.
See.
We have her. We have who else do we have? Phoenix Fierce.
Cool.
Who else?
I think I saw him because I know we made some shirts. Willy Wonka? Is she
Yeah,
still there? I don't know why that
that's
one stuck out into
that's
my head.
that's actually the Sexecutioner captain,
Oh,
but she's still there.
Willy Wonka. I thought that was good. I don't know why that stuck in my head. But.
That's her name because she loves. She bakes and she does cakes and stuff. So that's actually a lot of people's names actually correlate to their personalities and so forth.
And do you guys have a lot of kids that come to these events?
We do.
A lot of young girls.
We have a lot of young kids that come to these games, which is why I tell women, dress nicely, but please wear shorts. We do a lot of little girls, especially
so,
because
yeah.
I think they kind of see us like,
Sure.
oh, roller
Yeah.
skates, girls, kicking butt.
Sure.
I had little girls that want to take pictures with me, and it's so cute.
Oh, nice.
I sometimes scare the little girls because I do a lot of face painting, and I always wear contact. It's usually like a Marilyn Manson looking contact.
Nice.
Cool.
And sometimes girls are like, their parents are pushing them to take pictures, and they're like,
She's
no.
okay.
But yeah, other
It was
than
you that
that,
scared away my daughter that last boat.
probably. I might have. I do really creepy makeup. But yeah, we do have kids that go and they love it. They love, I guess, just watching women skate and watching, just the interaction with crowd and skaters.
Gotcha.
And the
think
pillow
that-
fights.
And I think that's more for the
Well,
adults.
After some of those names, I'm thinking the pillows are not as soft as they sound.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
You got some
pulverizer.
bars, so
No,
fights.
that penalty wheel can get a little bit brutal.
Oh yeah.
I've seen it. I've been in one and it sucks.
What about? Are you guys looking for skaters, for girls to skate all the time? You're trying to recruit.
Yes. Actually, I just started recruiting. We call them fresh meat. So about 2 weeks ago, I had a fresh meat orientation. We are recruiting actually currently, and I'm still recruiting even after.
And how do you advertise for that?
Usually we use a lot of social media networking. So Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We just let people know like, hey, we're recruiting, contact this person. And then I get a bunch of emails. And then I'm like, okay.
Oh, so you do have a pretty good response of people trying out? Oh, good. Good.
I think people respond more on social media than they do anything else because they're always on their phone. So it's easier to just be like, oh, Borderland Roller Derby is
Yes, I
having
wanna
fresh
go.
meat. Yeah.
Wow.
But we're also doing, we're also recruiting for officials as well. So that's supposed to start probably sometime in August. We'll be having our first fresh meat practice.
So is it an audition type of thing, or you just go through
Anybody.
class and you can do it? You're in.
You pretty much just go through classes. It's a program.
Oh, okay.
So you come in, and I've told girls before, if you don't know how to skate, I've worked with people that have never skated at all to people that have somewhat of an experience of skating. And I pretty much guide you through the basics of the sport. I teach you how to fall. I teach you how to properly skate, how to be in what we call as a derby stance,
Bump.
which is,
Gotcha.
how to hit, how to take a hit. And I think it all works out to where it goes to your assessment. So women do assess in order to get onto these
So
teams.
they get on the team and they do everything you said, like practice with them and all stuff before they don't just throw them in there right away, right? They have
No, so once you go through the fresh meat program, as soon as you learn how to do your
FMU.
yeah, as soon as you learn how to do the basics and you pass your assessments, which is pretty much, can you skate 25 laps in under 5 minutes?
Oh.
Can you do all the skills that you learned during your fresh meat program? Once you have accomplished all those, they get into their teams. In their teams, they still have to go to practices. So we hold practices on Mondays and Tuesdays, so they have to meet certain requirements in order to play a game. Now, when it comes down to actual play time, it typically usually is up to your captain and co-captains as well as your coaches. So if you have a skater that's kind of like, I'm still need a little bit of more work and I'm afraid to get hurt,
Gotcha.
you can take yourself out. You don't have to push yourself to play.
Gotcha.
But, it's just up to the skaters how comfortable they feel.
Sure. Wow.
Yeah, interesting, very interesting.
And you guys right now, you said earlier that you guys are only doing like a match a month right now?
Yeah, so we do one Sunday out of the month. And typically it's for us so we can heal. It is a big production to do a
I
game.
would think so.
A lot goes into, from picking
Flyers
bands,
and-
flyering, promoting. So we typically try to give ourselves some time to promote between each game. Actually, just yesterday, we did a photo shoot for our next coming game in August.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
So we're
When's
planning
the
that.
next?
It's going to be August 18th.
18th.
Are
Yeah.
these set Sundays, like every second Sunday, or they change?
No, they change up a bit. We try to give ourselves at least maybe 2 to 3 weeks between.
Okay.
But that's pretty much why we don't do a game every single Sunday.
Yeah,
That would be,
That'd be hard.
I would hate it.
Yeah.
Do you, for the August 18th, do you have anyone to sing the national anthem? We love to sing the national anthem.
Would you?
Plug.
Well, I'll give you my contact information. And then we
Shameless,
can
I
get
guess.
you.
You gotta go and try out. I'm not gonna give it to you.
Shameless.
There's an audition.
You gotta go to the fresh meat program, buddy.
I actually did sing one time.
Really?
In the smaller arena. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
You had to
national-
do
it was
solo.
cool.
I think I had to back out from you that day.
Got scared.
I got scared.
The pillows.
My shorts were a little too short.
Oh wow.
Cool.
Oh,
Well, it's
yeah,
been
yeah.
fun. We want to thank you for joining
No,
us.
thank you for having me.
Thank you
This has been
for.
fun.
How long? Oh, I'm not done yet. Remember?
There you go.
How long does the match last? I mean, from time you come in to the time you leave, you're looking at what, a couple hours for the person going to check you guys out?
So our whistle blows at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
You have pretty much 2 halves. Each one is 30 minutes.
Okay.
So you're looking at maybe an hour and a half, because you have to include the band in the middle.
Oh yeah,
Your
that's
halftime.
what I'm talking about. You guys always have a band.
Yes.
band.
Yes.
We do
So-
a halftime, which is maybe a set of 20 to 30 minutes.
Ah, cool.
We have our bands. We try to pick bands locally.
Mm-hmm.
Usually bands reach out to us. We're like, okay, just give us an idea of what kind of music you play.
And of course, that's their time donated to see you
yes.
guys. Oh, good. It's a good time for them to get
You have your
exposure.
30-minute,
Exposure.
your band, then your last 30 minutes, and then the game is over. Our games usually end maybe roughly by 8.
And obviously, you guys are very approachable. Stick around, talk to the fans,
Take
and stuff like that.
pictures.
Take
Yes,
pictures.
we usually try to do that maybe before the game. When we're getting dressed or we're warming up, we try to talk to fans. We try to hey, thank you for coming. And especially during halftime is usually the time that we try to take to, hey, thank you, Thea, for coming. And then go and talk to fans as well and try to interact with people,
Sure.
because they came to see you. They came to see you play. So.
Gotcha. Very cool.
Well, I've been. I think it's a great time. Take your family, take your loved ones, and go and have some
It's a good
drinks.
time.
And have some. It's
Sunday
a good time.
evening.
It's a good. So yeah, I think Sunday evening's perfect for it. I think so.
I think so too, because I don't work the next day.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's right after football. It'll be right after.
There you go.
Except for the night game.
Let us know what. Facebook. How do people get a hold of you? Or?
You can go to borderlandrollerderby.com. We have our bout schedules. We
Good.
have our teams, who's in those teams. That way you can get to know the skaters. We also have social media. We have Facebook. It's just Borderland Roller Derby. Twitter, I think it's BRD915. We have Instagram. I think we even have Snapchat.
Okay.
So,
Okay, we'll make sure we get that so you can post it for everybody to check
yes,
it out.
definitely.
Well, what's the worst injury you've had?
Ooh, you know, I used to tell people that the worst injury I had was when I was skating flat and I hit my head against the concrete.
Ooh.
So I got a concussion.
Wow.
But I think the worst thing that ever happened to me generally was actually this past game, and all of my girls are talking about it because it happened and it's never happened before. My skate came apart.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you
Oh, a hard hit.
wiped it.
So did you continue the game on one skate? Or?
No, I was unfortunately I cried. I was done.
Oh, you're done.
Yeah, I was jamming, and I was jamming actually against Trixie Pulverizer.
Trixie.
She's
The
actually
name fits
one.
perfect.
Yeah,
Sounds like it.
we were jamming against each other. I know she's a fast skater. I know I probably wouldn't have got through before she did. So my thought was like, you know what, I'm just gonna hit her out, and then hopefully she falls out, and then I can make my move. When I tried it, you know, I was like, yes, I hit her, and all of a sudden I just felt my skate start shaking, and then the actual plate with the wheels just came off the boot.
That sounds
So it's
So-
like run, skate,
Yeah,
run,
my
skate.
coach ended up catching the plate, and then I just remember like looking at it and being like, oh, because I was actually going to Vegas in like 2 days after the game, because I had a convention for Derby.
I wanted to talk to you about that too.
Yeah, so I was really bummed because I was like, what am I gonna do?
That sounds fishy. Is there like an internal investigation on this?
Maybe, you know, I've asked for people to investigate, but nothing's come up.
Oh, okay.
Well, you say that you did go to this convention for roller derby,
Yes.
right? And what just new
Fresh meat?
information?
Well,
Searching for
so
fresh meat?
what it's called is it's called RollerCon, and it's held
Wow.
every year in the summer in Las Vegas. So since I've been doing derby, I have never gone. I'll say it's because of maybe financial, maybe time.
Sure.
It's just been a little bit hard. But you know, this year was like the year I was like, no, I'm gonna go to RollerCon. Like I have to experience RollerCon, because I have girls that have gone and they come back and they start telling me all their
Oh, yeah.
stories, and I'm like, I want to experience that. And so I actually had the opportunity to finally go to RollerCon. So it was a 5-day convention.
Wow.
We stayed at the Westgate Hotel. It was really fun. You take classes. There's on skates classes. There's flat track classes, bank track classes.
Wow.
There's games that go on. Pretty much like little scrimmages here and there. And you meet people from everywhere. I think I met a woman from Australia, only because I was like, man, I like your accent. So I was like, I met a lot of people that, you know, do roller derby, whether it was flat track or bank track, and it was a really cool experience. I even got to play the RDCL rule set on bank, which I coach RDCL, but I've never played it. So it was something very different for me, and I guess as a coach for the travel team, it was like a much better appreciation to what my girls have to go through.
Nice.
So I was like, wow. And I played with men, and I was like, all my games that I played in RollerCon were all co-ed games. So I was a little like, I haven't played against men in a long time. But you know what? Like, they didn't kill me. So I was like, all right.
You're still here.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
good.
still here. But yeah, I took the classes, and it's pretty much all RollerCon is you network with people. You get to know people from other, you know, cities, states, countries.
Wow.
And you get to pretty much learn with them and pretty much upgrade your skill.
Awesome.
Very interesting. Now, is there within the game itself, are there different types of games that you can play? Like paintball, and like paintball, you can play like different games, or is it all the same idea, the same set, same rules?
So with your flat track, you had like the rule set as of WIFTDA. You had some games that was known as USARs, that you could play a USARs game. I didn't see that game though.
Okay.
You had the bank track, which was just RDCL. Rarely do other leagues play Texas rules, because again, Texas. But mostly on that bank, it was RDCL. And it was co-ed, because I think bank track is very open to men and women playing.
So they're just different rules, but the same goal though.
Same goal, just
Okay.
different,
Okay.
different
So there's
penalties.
no different games, different goals that you can play.
No,
Okay.
not really. But I mean, these challenges were pretty cool. See, I didn't understand what a challenge was, because again, never been to RollerCon until now. But I had a girl that kind of guided me. She was like my RollerCon
Guru.
Angel guru. So shout out to Bambi Sambi for helping me out. But she pretty much, she would tell me like, hey, so they have these challenges, and these challenges are pretty much you can register for to get into these games. And I was like, what is a challenge? And so pretty much it's just scrimmages, but they're themed scrimmages. So like you had Spy versus Spy, or you had My
there you
Little
go. That's what I was
Pony,
asking,
My Little Pony versus I forgot what the other one was. So you had Beer and Wine. You had I played a game where it was like Queen of the Nile versus
Queen of the South.
Queen of the Hearts or something like that.
Wow.
And then it was funny because I only registered for 2. I just didn't know, because I didn't get the concept of registering for challenges. But then I found out, like, hey, well, if they drop skaters, you can just jump on and play. So I remember I went to Walmart and I bought every single color of shirt just in case, like, hey, you need a player? So then I would just jump on. I got a shirt.
I only got one shirt.
Yeah.
And it's just your team.
I think
Nice.
one game I was very lucky. I played 3 games back to back, and I got to wear the same shirt, so I didn't have to change. And I was like, oh, thank God. Like, it was so much fun. I had so much fun in RollerCon. It was freaking hot, but it was really fun.
Wow.
I didn't get to explore Vegas itself again. I was like all up in the convention.
You were happy there. There you go.
And I was shopping for skates because mine broke. Actually, your niece helped me out because she lent me her skates.
My daughter.
Yeah. Well, will she lend them to me?
Oh,
There you go. Very cool.
Because I needed skates.
Awesome.
Thank you. Okay.
Cool.
Thanks for coming again.
Thank you for having me.
Fresh meat.
Come
join
on
on. Go and
Sign
join
up.
them. Go and join them Sunday afternoon, Sunday evenings. Good time.
Yes.
Yes.
You'll
Very
have
good.
lots and lots of fun.
Thanks
Make
again.
sure
Ivy.
to
Thank you.
subscribe on the link below to our podcast, All Up in Your Business. Thank you for the sponsors, SignBros,
Yep.
first of all, and thank you, Ivy, for joining us.
Thank you
and,
for having me. This was fun.
Thanks for coming.
Signing off.
I enjoyed it.
Have a good day.
SignBroCast is the place where we make a sign.